Hey guys, and welcome to a special episode, the quick count of the SoFLo Sports Show. It's your host, 305 Sports Beat, co-host Lou from Dade, and it is the quick count because we are not live. That does not mean we're not going to see your comments. So please, as we talk, pretend it's live and drop those comments in the chat, in the comment section, because we want to hear you.
Yeah, it's a little strange for me. I love the comments. I love seeing the comments pop up and, having everybody interacting with us. I love hearing people's takes and their opinions on all matters that have to do with the Dolphins and sports in general. So it's a little strange right now. I'd much rather do the live edition, but if we must, I know you've been very busy at work. I know we got a lot going on. I know it's Art Basel week down here in Miami/Miami Beach, which makes traffic come to a standstill. For those that don't know, Art Basel is a crazy time of the year down here. So a lot going on. So that's what we're doing this quick count show, the No Huddle 2-minute warning show here, if you will.
So make it less weird for Lou and be sure to add your comments because he will respond back to you. Guys, so anyways, tonight, real quick, we're going to hit Dolphins recap game against the Saints last week. Fins go to New York this week, Jersey, to play the Jets. Talk a little bit about the Heat, the Panthers. Will the Canes make the playoffs? Lou will hit his weekly contest, so definitely stay tuned for that because that's coming. And then we'll end talking a little bit about Pittsburgh. We're going to Pittsburgh in a week and a half for the Dolphins Steelers Monday Night Showdown, and we have some things planned. So we're going to drop a little bit of that here and then tell you all about it on next week's full episode.
Yeah, you should really catch it all because, like I said, it's condensed, as you mentioned, a quick count show. So it'll be over before you know it. I do want to take a moment before we get started on the show and our topics. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to us. It's completely free. A lot of people ask. It's not non-fee, so subscribe to it. It's totally free to do so. And be sure to give the channel a subscription and a like per episode. It means a lot. Goes a long way to helping what we're trying to do, and the support means a lot.
All right, guys. So Dolphins are coming off a win against New Orleans Saints. We played the Saints on Sunday at Hard Rock Stadium. It was one of the wettest games I've ever been to. I've been to a lot of Dolphin games, and we've been to snow games. We've been to hot games. We've been to cold games. It was just miserably raining. Our tailgate completely got rained on, everyone's tailgate, to the point where the tents, pretty much everyone's tents, took so much water that you had to hit the water up unless the tent was going to collapse in. So shout out to our tailgate crew. They did a fantastic job keeping us as dry as possible and definitely popping up those water bubbles to ensure that we didn't get collapsed on by monsoon.
Yeah, Tim and Kirk were doing that. They were getting the water out of the tent. And Kathy did a great job cooking. She did not let the weather deter her. But yeah, the weather was bad during the tailgate as early as 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning by the time we got there. And throughout the game as well, it was nonstop rain. Luckily for us, we are undercover on our seats at the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
But a lot of people weren't. We saw a lot of people heading towards the exits to get covered from the rain.
Definitely. So as was mentioned, it didn't rain torrentially during the game, but the tailgate was definitely a wet one. So Dolphins, as mentioned before, they did win against the Saints. Just highlighting, Achane had a huge game to the point where he actually was the offensive player of the month in November. Just fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. And here he is running for his 29-yard touchdown into the end zone. He had 134 yards on the game. That put him actually over 1,000 yards in the season with still 5 games to play. Hey, if he does 200 yards a game the rest of the way, he could go to 2,000 yards. I don't think that's going to happen, but hey, you never know. He is definitely the MVP of the team by far by now, and he had another stellar performance on Sunday against the Saints.
Switching sides of the field, our defense had 4 sacks, so they were explosive on that end. And Tua was very type of game for him, but was able to pull out the win.
Yeah, I mean, it's what he's been doing. He's been what I like to call a game manager. This particular game, just 12 completions, 12 out of 23 on the game for 157 yards. It was actually one of our questions last week. Will he throw over 220 yards? And he didn't even get to 200. So he's been very meh when it comes to driving the ball downfield and keeping drives alive. He also had another, what we're calling long punt interception, where he threw the ball into the end zone and the double coverage again. It was picked off, so that didn't sit well. And the most concerning thing is that heading into the half, the Dolphins were up 13-0. They had already blown 2 timeouts, which is typical of a Mike McDaniel called game. But they were driving and they only had 1 timeout, and they were kind of very lackadaisical getting to the line of scrimmage, almost as they were content to settle for a field goal, which they ended up doing. They were up 16-0 at the half, and they held on. But because of not scoring a touchdown and converting in the red zone, they put themselves in a position where the Saints almost caught us. And it was very reminiscent of the Carolina game when we were up 17-0 at the half. And, of course, the Dolphins went on to lose that game.
And the Saints aren't a good team at all this year. They had a decent fan turnout, but it should have been a bigger win than it was, but we pulled it out. So this week, Dolphins do head to New Jersey, New York to take on the Jets. This is not going to be an easy walk in the park. It's going to be cold. There might be snow. We typically know that the Dolphins don't always do well in cold weather, so it'll be very interesting to see how they play against the Jets this week.
Yep, Tyrod Taylor, who's had a lot of success as a Bill, as a Jet, against the Dolphins. So we got to definitely hold them in. And you mentioned defense last week against the Saints, 4 sacks, and also Minkah Fitzpatrick. We cannot let it go without mentioning his historic. This has actually never happened before, where the Dolphins have had a defensive 2-point conversion. They're calling this a pick 2 instead of a pick 6, but he ran it back, took it to the house, and pretty much put that game away against the Saints.
Definitely. All right, so switching gears a little bit, let's talk a little hockey. Unfortunately, our Florida Panthers, our two-time back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, are struggling. They're on the struggle bus recently. We are last in our conference. Paul Maurice is saying, hey, guys, it happens like this, but let's stay positive and get it together. Matthew Tkachuk is still not back, and either Alexander Barkov, who probably won't come back till maybe April or May. So we are playing without 2 of our arguably best players, and it's starting to show.
Yeah, no, you say April or May, but if they don't get it together here soon enough, they're going to be outside of the playoffs. I mean, still a lot of hockey left. But to your point, Paul Maurice said, hey, look, this is a group for now. Matthew Tkachuk isn't scheduled to come back to the Winter Classic. Yeah. So you still got about another month to go where you got to really, batten down the hatchet here and get the team ready to go and get some wins here along the way.
Speaking of Winter Classic, that's coming up early January. Panthers take on the New York Rangers at Lone Depot Park. It's going to be outside on a baseball field. Definitely something to see if you guys haven't got tickets. It is a wonderful Christmas or Hanukkah gift for your loved ones.
Yep. So let's go back to football and talk Miami Hurricanes. Of course, their season, officially the regular season's now over. They had a monster victory at Pitt, 38-7. Our good friend, JD the Boss, called it on our show. Not a lot of people predicted a Hurricanes win, much less a blowout. He said it was going to be 37-10. It ended up being 38-7. So a big, big win in Pittsburgh for the Hurricanes. Unfortunately, as we move on to the CFP picture,
they are not currently projected to make the playoffs. I mean, and then people's argument to this is that, hey, they did beat Notre Dame week 1, but then look at their losses. They lost against SMU, and it was Louisville. So that definitely, without a doubt, hurt us big, big, big time.
Yeah, but as you see here, so now that the regular season's over, now the Canes have been replaced by the conference champion. The top 5 conference champions get to go. And so in this case, with UVA, University of Virginia, playing Duke, and Duke having a horrendous record, the ACC may not be represented at all. Yeah. So it's going to come down to see what the committee votes with Notre Dame, and also what happens with BYU. Hopefully they don't steal a bid there. So we will see if the Hurricanes can somehow survive, and we'll know next Sunday.
Yes, Selection Sunday.
Are in.
Selection Sunday is coming up this Sunday. Usually goes around 12 o'clock or so. So we will know. We will know if the Canes make it. It's if you ask people down here, we're not holding our breaths. We'd love to see it, but we do know the reality of it.
Yeah. So let's move on to the world of the NBA. The Miami Heat are off to a hot start to the season. They are 14-8 on the year, 10-2 at home. They're in 4th place in the East, and they actually qualified for the NBA Cup. Mm-hmm. The NBA Cup's this new invention, which I'm not really fond of because they're really games that don't matter. Like they're awarding a cup out in December when the real prize is handed out in June with the Larry O'Brien Trophy. But hey, it's a big story. The Miami Heat are in the final 8, and they are actually going to be playing their state rival Orlando Magic next Tuesday.
But ironically enough, we play them tomorrow too.
Yeah, right. Well, this was a game that was made up based on the advancing past the group stage. So because of that, you're right. You're going to play them upcoming Friday, and then they're back in Orlando on Tuesday
3 days later,
for a cup game, and the winner of that game goes on to Vegas. So that's a big deal. Obviously, the players want to take a free trip out to Vegas, and there is money on the line. So the Heat have definitely a lot of incentive to try and win that game and get to Sin City out there in the desert. So that should be fun. But no, look, Tyler Hero came back. He's been balling. Norman Powell, what more can you say about him? So the Heat are going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. And, it's a big story around town.
Shout out to Tim Reynolds. Went to his book signing last week. It was fantastic. Eric Spoelstra was there. Bam Adebayo. Just a great, great time. Guys, follow Tim Reynolds if you do not. And for sure, get his book about the Miami Heat.
It's fantastic. We'll talk more about that on a future live episode. But, all right, let's get back to the NFL here. We'll close it out with this. Crazy games on Thanksgiving, by the way. The Chiefs lost to the Dallas Cowboys. The Packers beat the Lions, and the Joe Burrow-led Bengals went into Baltimore and beat the Ravens. Yeah. So some crazy games on Thanksgiving. This week, we got a lot of games coming up that will affect the Dolphins' potential chances of getting to the playoffs. The Steelers play the Ravens. We should be rooting for the Steelers because we lose the tiebreaker to the Ravens, and we play the Steelers, as you mentioned, in a couple of weeks. So let's hope the Steelers can pull that one out. The Colts face the Jaguars. That's going to be a big game there as well that could affect the Dolphins' chances. Bengals and the Bills. We're big Bengals fans this week because the Bills have 4 losses. We got to catch them. And we play the Bengals. We don't play the Bills again, so that should be a big game there. Texans and the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. And in the big one at the end of the week, Monday Night Football, the Eagles go to the LA Chargers. The Chargers obviously beat us earlier in the year, so we got to be big Eagles fans and hope the Eagles can take out the Chargers.
But even looking forward to our schedule, as mentioned before, Dolphins go to New York, New Jersey this week to play the Jets. But then we have 2 back-to-back, as of right now, primetime games. We play the Steelers on that Monday, and then that Sunday we would end up playing the Bengals against slated right now for a Sunday night matchup against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. So our time on primetime is not always great, but hopefully we're able to pull it off on national TV.
Yeah, and we'll know about that Bengals game sometime next week. But what
I'm hearing, it's going to stay.
The Steelers game was already announced this past Wednesday that it is going to be locked into Monday Night Football. Yeah. And, of course, Ben Roethlisberger is getting his he's going to get into the Ring of Honor in Pittsburgh, as is former Dolphin Joey Porter, who spent a lot of time with the Steelers. So that'll be fun to watch while we're up there. And I know you had some news on a little get-together possibly on –
yeah, so I guess we'll jump to that. So we are, as Lou mentioned, and I mentioned too, we are going to Pittsburgh. We were thinking about it and going, and there's just a great group of Dolphin fans going, so we are for sure going to Pittsburgh. We are going to have a Fins Fan Social on Saturday night, just finalizing with some places, and it'll be either around 8 or 8:30 in downtown Pittsburgh. As soon as I get those details within the next day or so, I will for sure post them, email them, put them on social media. It's going to be a free social, free get-together, free meetup, and just a good time in the Steel City. Food there is excellent. Drinks are excellent. It's holiday time and just enjoying each other's company before the game. But that's going to be on Saturday. So the game is Monday. So do whatever you want Sunday, but we will have a social on Saturday.
So stay tuned for that. All right, so let's get to our question. Let's wrap this up with our question. First to the leaderboard.
Sorry.
The leaderboard, here you go. You got Kirk is 12 with Eduardo. Eddie, Fast Eddie in there at 12. Russ has 10. Sheldon and Robert at 9. And you see the rest over there. So this is your leaderboard, and we will, without further ado, get to this week's question.
All right, here you go.
And here are your questions for Week 14. Will the Dolphins beat the Jets by the 2.5-point spread? Yes or no? So in the comments after you see this, go ahead and drop it in the comments section of the show. If the Dolphins will beat the Jets by the 2.5-point spread, either yes or no. And question number 2. Will Jalen Waddle's total receiving yards be over or under 63.5 yards? So those are your questions. Make sure you answer them in the show questions comment section.
In the comment section of YouTube, not on X. It has to be on YouTube.
X. We actually will not be posting this on X, I don't think. So go ahead and answer them in the show's question
YouTube
section.
Comments.
Exactly.
YouTube comments.
All right. Sorry, guys. That's pretty much it. Do not forget to like this episode. And, of course, if you have not done so already, subscribe to the channel. And I got nothing else. We got to get a win. We got to move to 6-7. Dolphins got to get to that 6-7 mark to have a chance at 500 in the Steel City, Pittsburgh.
Definitely, guys. So next week's show most likely will be on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. We will have a guest on, maybe looking at somebody talking about the Pittsburgh Dolphins matchup. So until then, Go Dolphins. Also, InterMiami has a huge game on Saturday at 2:30.
Right.
So
Final.
I know
Final.
it's huge. Against Vancouver. I think it was Vancouver.
Yep, Vancouver. The
Vancouver.
Whitecaps.
Yeah, so a lot of good sports on this weekend, and then of course end it with the Dolphins on Sunday. So guys, until next week, we will see you later.
Good.